Oh,
Now
there
it
it
does.
is. Okay. Hi, my name is Alexis. I am 23 years old. I am a native here to Santa Barbara. I'm a returning student to SBCC. Fun fact, I just became an aunt. My sister just had a baby on Tuesday, so I have a newborn at home, so it's very overwhelming would be
Yeah.
a good word.
Um, I'm Gracie Morris. I'm from Manhattan Beach, which is in LA. I'm 20. This is my second year, but first year at SBCC. And my plan is to eventually transfer to a four-year university by next year. I'm a communications major right now, but I think in the future, I plan on focusing in marketing,
Oh, cool.
by next year. Okay.
Awesome.
Um,
Do you want to answer the question first?
I can go first.
Okay.
One of the laws that I talked about was the Supreme Court justice until death laws. Because right now, Supreme Court justices can serve up to like 30 to 40 years or until they die. And so, since deaths are so like sudden and unexpected, I feel the Supreme Court is like unbalanced and unfair because some presidents get to appoint multiple Supreme Court judges, while some don't get to appoint any. Like when Trump was president for 4 years, he got to appoint three Supreme Court judges, but Barack Obama, who was president for eight, only got to appoint two. And right now, there's six judges that were appointed by Republicans and three that were appointed by liberals. So this can make like voting processes unfair, since majority of Republican laws will be passed while most Democratic laws won't be. And I believe that when someone's working in the Supreme Court and they like for a long time, once they get older, it can make them it can make it harder for them to make decisions. And like once they get like start getting like health problems. So I think a law I would implement is a limit on how long a Supreme Court judge needs to serve, like a limit of 18 years. This way they can still get to serve for a long period of time, but it makes the appointment process more equal and fair.
Do you want to do your all
Um,
three first, or do you want to kind of alternate?
we should take like alternate, I think.
Okay, cool. So if I were to be the US president for 24 hours, the first law that I said I would change was immigration laws. And I wrote this down. I don't know if you mind if I read this. Okay, so the first law I would change would be the immigration laws. If an undocumented person has been here for a while without getting into like any issues, I feel like they should automatically gain citizenship. That also goes with it shouldn't be so complicated to get a visa. So um, change like the waiting times. I feel like now the process takes like so long just to get approval. Um, and another thing that goes with the whole like immigration laws, it's like right now with like the whole like ICE raids going on right now. I know California's the governor just passed a law to have like ICE agents be unmasked. I think that should be everywhere, not just here in California, especially like if it's like any type of enforcement, people they shouldn't be allowed to like conceal who they are. I think anybody, like police officers and all that, should have to, have like a badge or a way to identify them.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I'm from LA, I remember like seeing that a lot during the summer when I was back home. A lot of there were police officers like ro raiding the streets and stuff, like especially in downtown, and it was like getting really just like out of hand, I think. Um yeah, so I like saw that a lot recently. Um Another law that I would pass is like I think more funding for inner city schools. Um, I believe the power imbalance even between public schools in poorer areas compared to public schools in like wealthier areas is unfair. Because the wealthier areas usually have better technology, newer buildings, and more experienced teachers overall. And this can create a better learning environment and education for these students. And they're usually funded by like um they can be funded by the taxes that like parents pay for their houses, and in wealthier areas they're gonna get more donations from the parents, and this can be like really unequal and unfair. So I think I would fund poor like inner city schools more just to even out the imbalance and give them more of like a fair chance to get a better education. And just like it could help create like a better like help them get into like a better school and like I don't know, future overall, I think.
I think that you made a very good point, especially with, education now. It's you see like the teachers who like public education since like they lack a lot of funding, and the teachers will pay out of pocket for a lot of stuff, and I don't think that should be like even something that they have to do. That should already be, already given to
Yeah.
them or
Yeah.
provided would be the correct word.
Yeah. And I also think like if teachers get are like in the wealthier places, teachers are probably getting paid more. And I think when teachers get paid more, they're also going to be more motivated to teach. I actually think I already said that. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's it.
The second one that I went into was I would love to get rid of student loan payments. I feel like a lot of people who are actually trying to go to school, they take a step back because they feel like it's out of their reach, or they are so consumed with the debt that they're going to be left with after that it's just so intimidating to even do. Um, like I personally have cousins that have like gone to school and would like to become doctors, nurses, and after a while they're like, well, I'm paying off my student loans, and they can get a little discouraged. I mean, they love their job and they want to do their job, but they get a little bit discouraged by the fact that these loans are pretty much going to follow them for like almost the rest of their life. Um, I think education should be free. I wish that was a thing here. Um, I feel like if, you know, people had that accessibility and wouldn't have to worry about the monetary value that goes into that, they would be more motivated and we would have a lot more professionals around. And I feel like even that would actually help. And it kind of goes into what you said, like having funding. If we had that funding, a lot of people would be motivated to not just go to school. We'd have people be motivated to be professors, and um, just like I said, just repeating it one more time, like having more professionals.
Yeah, I agree with you. I actually almost wrote about that topic.
Mhm.
Um, I think it can like relate to a lot of people right now since we're like all in college.
Mhm.
Um, and I think it can like I think that can also just help like people get the jobs that they like instead of it being seen as like a luxury, it could be seen as like a right. So people can actually get like the dream job that they like have been wanting.
Yeah.
Um, Another law that I wanted was to enforce more background checks and just be a little bit stricter on people who buy guns, especially more like dangerous ones like assault rifles. I think over time, school shootings have become more common, allowing for more like unsafe learning environments and students are being taught how to act. If there's ever a shooter by enforcing lockdown drills, causing fear and trauma on these kids instead of just implementing laws to make guns less accessible, so people can't really purchase guns with bad intentions as easily. And the U.S. also has way more shootings and mass shootings than any other country, and a big reason for that is because of how accessible our guns are.
Yeah, I think it's so scary. Like going on to what you said about like having to worry about school shootings. I remember when I think I was in high school, junior high, when the Isla Vista shooting happened. And I was so scared. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, like, is that gonna happen here? Because we got escorted out. And there's just been a lot going on. And I feel like that's something that we should get a handle on. So I agree with you on that. Um, Another one that I picked, it's not one that's an example, um, but I would like for there to be mandatory therapy for like everybody in school. I want to say starting off at elementary school. I feel like if people were able to get that help that they needed from I'm not saying that people do need help all the time, but if people have like therapy that they went to that way, it wouldn't be so like frowned upon. I feel like right now people still kind of are like, oh, I'm in therapy, and people still kind of look at them weird. Um, but if that was like something mandated for everybody, then I feel like even possibly school shootings could be prevented. If people are getting like the help that they need, people can be taken out of like abusive households or I think just getting the help that sometimes they don't even know they need. They're so used to their like living situation and just wait for it to almost combust. That's why I think that would be really cool. And I was having a conversation with my little sister about that. Um, I said, do you think if like people were mandating therapy in school, like bullying would still be such a big issue? You know,
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think we're running out of time because I just timed myself. We're almost at 11 minutes.
mhm.
Um, so I think we could stop recording.
Okay, well, let me go ahead and